Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, for you guys, Week 15 wide receiver rankings for fantasy football in 2020. Inside this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my top 32 wide receivers ranked for week number 15 of the 2020 fantasy football season. Real quick, before we get deep into this one, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends, my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com offers a variety of games on their website. It's my favorite way to play daily fantasy sports on the internet. They have the matchup shop, which I typically talk about, where you have one player versus another, plus or minus a certain amount of fantasy points. You pick one, and you put as much money on that matchup as you want, as low as like $1, and as high as, I believe, $500+. But this week, I want to talk about the quarterback shootout, because I won a lot of money on this last week, and it is very, very simple. All you have to do is you're going to get a bunch of matchups on your screen, and all you have to do is pick 5 out of the 10 to 12 that show up on your screen, and if you get them all right, the prize is very, very big. The top 10% win $50. First place gets $500. Now, obviously, I didn't win $500, even going 5-0, because 3 other people won, but that is still a decent amount of money. My other ones went 4-1, and the other one went 4-1 as well, so I made a combined $300 on Overlay DFS last week. It is very, very simple. You just pick who scores more fantasy points, player versus player. That's how easy it is. You guys do all this research all week long to win your fantasy matchup, so why not win some extra cash on top of it on OverlayDFS.com. As well as, I'd like to let you guys know that if you do end up enjoying this video, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship, and if you're not new, you've been watching for a little bit of time or a while, please make sure that you hit that like button. It helps me out a whole ton. Let's get into it. Week 15 wide receiver rankings. We begin with number 1, Davante Adams versus the Carolina Panthers. To me, this game is going to be ran by the Green Bay Packers offense, and Devontae Parker and Aaron Rodgers are going to be a humongous part of that. Devontae Parker is why I say his name. His name's actually Davante Adams. Devontae Parker is a Dolphins wide receiver. But with that said, Davante Adams has been unreal thus far this season. When this guy is healthy, there is no doubt that he's a top 5 wide receiver on a weekly basis, if not the number 1 guy. He's just been very consistent this season, so I like him here again this week at number 1. At number 2, we have Tyreek Hill at the New Orleans Saints. Tyreek the Freak has been balling out on the usual, even last week up against the Miami Dolphins, which is what I would consider a very tough matchup for Tyreek. While he didn't put up a humongous score of a game, he still played great. This week, he gets the New Orleans Saints, which is no slouch on defense, aside from last week up against Jalen Hurts. They didn't look all that great on defense. I do think that Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes are just that amazing connection on a weekly basis. You can fucking better... You just know, every single fucking game, Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable. It doesn't matter if you put the best defense on earth. If you're putting up the Great Wall of fucking China, it is not going to be able to stop Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. So I like Tyreek at number 2. At number 3, we have D-Hop versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a very simple matchup. Diop up against a Darius Slay who is struggling. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Kyler Murray has been struggling, though, so that is definitely kind of a knock on DeAndre Hopkins this week, but I do think that he's fine, because even if Kyler's not throwing tugs, not throwing too many touchdowns, it hasn't seemed to really matter for DeAndre Hopkins the last couple of weeks. At number 4, we have DK Metcalf at the Washington football team. And this matchup does kind of scare me a decent amount for the Seattle Seahawks as a whole. I just don't feel like this game is going to be super high scoring. But just because the game isn't super high scoring doesn't mean that DK Metcalf will have the opportunity to catch the ball a bunch of times to score and rack up a bunch of fantasy football points. At number 5, we have Stephon Diggs at the Denver Broncos. This game could be really categorized in 2 different ways, because you have the Denver Broncos offense, who either looks rock hard, Viagra hard, or they are looking like they cannot get it up if it was to save their lives. That's kind of how the offense looks. Drew Lock's either balling or he's just throwing picks 7 million times. So if Drew Lock plays actually pretty well, Stephon Diggs does have the potential to rank even higher than top 5 due to the fact that if they're scoring a lot of points, then the Buffalo Bills are going to have to be throwing later into the game. With that said, regardless, I still feel very confident in Stephon Diggs this week. A big game out of him and Josh Allen. At number 6, we have A.J. Brown versus the Detroit Lions. Recently, A.J. Brown has just been a locked and loaded top 12 wide receiver for your fantasy football lineup due to the offense of the Tennessee Titans. Now, even if Derrick Henry is to run for 250-something yards or something ridiculous, just out of your mind. Insane type of yards. It doesn't seem to fucking matter at all for A.J. Brown because he's still producing in these matchups up against the Detroit Lions. Is definitely a very soft matchup for A.J. Brown. At number 7, we have Allen Robinson at the Minnesota Vikings. In this one, Allen Robinson and Kissin Titty Trubisky are going to be a connection like fucking Steve Young to T.O. Steve Young to Jerry Rice, Tom Brady to Gronk. That type of connection. That's what they're getting here, except for it's like the way worse version because Mitchell Trubisky fucking sucks. But Allen Robinson is very talented up against the Minnesota Vikings, a defense that has been struggling. They're not an amazing defense as a whole, and I think Allen Robinson should be able to put up another good game here up against them this season. At number 8, we have Calvin Ridley versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Bay Tom Brady. Now, it appears that Julio Jones is not going to be suiting up in this matchup, which does open up a big hole for Calvin Ridley to fill up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is definitely kind of not an amazing matchup because the Tampa Bay Bucs defense is pretty solid, but I do think Calvin Ridley gets it done as wide receiver number 8. At number 9, we have Brandon Ayuk at the Dallas Cowboys. Brandon Ayuk has been unreal this season. When he's been healthy in his rookie year, this guy's doing what you would just never have seen out of a rookie who's been this banged up. Going up against the Dallas Cowboys defense that gets down on their knees to suck fucking cock at defense, Brandon Ayuk will be able to easily deflate them like some balls in New England. I love Brandon Ayuk this week at number 9. At number 10, we have Bobby Trees, Robert Woods versus the New York Football Jets. It's simple. You get an offense that's very good going up against a bad defense with the number 1 wide receiver on the team. It's a no fucking brainer. Robert Woods, top 10 wide receiver. At number 11, we have Justin Jefferson versus the Chi-Town Bears. Justin Jefferson has just been unreal this season, and his friend, his teammate, Adam Thielen, one spot below him at number 12 versus the Chi-Town Bears. Now, the biggest worry with this Minnesota Vikings offense is what happens in the game. Are we going to see a heavy Dalvin Cook game, or are we going to see a heavy passing game? Because we do see games kind of like last week up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where both of these wide receivers just take a fucking nap. And they're not really able to get it going, which is definitely worrisome on a weekly basis. But once they have that one down game, a majority of the time the next week is a huge bounce back and step up for both wide receivers. So I like them both here up against the Chi-Town Bears. Now into wide receivers 13 through 24. If you guys have ended up enjoying thus far, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. At number 13, we have Cooper Kupp versus the New York Football Jets. Again, another case of an amazing offense going up against a bum defense. Just like with Robert Woods, I do like Cooper Kupp this week. My biggest worry with both of these guys is that they score 7 million points in the game, but in reality, only like 2 of them are passing touchdowns, or 1 of them, because Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, and Malcolm Brown just score 7 million rushing touchdowns because they're never in doubt of losing this matchup. At number 14, we have F1 Scary Terry McLaurin versus the Seattle Seahawks. Now, it appears that Alex Smith is going to be out in this one, strike 3, and it is going to be Dwayne Haskins starting in this matchup. Does that affect my opinion on Terry McLaurin? No, but Terry McLaurin's been in a rough fucking patch as of recently. This guy has gotten the Sour Patch Kids that are orange like 12 times in a row. The orange ones, blatantly, they suck. You're looking for the red one, you're looking for the green one, you're looking for the blue one, and you keep getting the orange one and you're pissed off. That's what Terry McLaurin has been as of recently. Just the bad part of the offense, but he's actually a very talented wide receiver. I just don't get why he hasn't been seeing the extreme receiving volume that he was seeing earlier in the season. Is that bound to continue to happen? No. So you pivot back to Terry McLaurin, but he does scare me a little bit this week up against Seattle. At number 15, we have T.Y. Hilton versus the Houston Texans. Now, T.Y. Hilton, I besmirched this man's name. I was dancing on his fucking grave early on in the season because I hated T.Y. Hilton in your fantasy football drafts. I was so against drafting T.Y. Hilton. And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel right about it. First 10 games of the season, this guy was awful. Terrible. You probably cut him. But then you picked him back up a couple weeks ago, and he's been balling out of control, scoring tugs every single game, like his name was Robert fucking Kraft in a massage parlor. So I think T.Y. Hilton is going to be able to smoke this one up, light up a fat doobie like his name is Snoop Dogg, and smoke the Houston Texans pack on Sunday. I love T.Y. in this game. At number 6, we have another guy whose name starts with a T, but this is Tyler Lockett at the Washington Football Team. Now, I have broke this down countless times about how Tyler Lockett is unsittable, but in a majority of the games, you're going to wish that you never even fucking started this guy because he is so inconsistent. On a weekly basis, this guy is pretty bad. But he's never going to really screw you to where he scores like 6 points, right? He always scores like 10 or he's going to score 50. There's really no in between for Tyler Lockett. He's had really good games this season and a bunch that are really, really not that great for the wide receiver position. So it kind of puts into question, are you going to want to draft Tyler Lockett next year? To me, the answer is no, but we're talking about week 15 in fantasy football up against Washington. He has a lot of upside, but again, I do worry because on a weekly basis, this guy's really up and down. At number 17, we have Corey Davis versus the Detroit Lions. Nick, do you remember last week when you said Corey Davis was going to be really good up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and in reality, Corey Davis sucked a fat hog, and he played terrible, Nick. Don't you remember? I never forget, and I completely remember. Corey Davis played awful last week. I understand, but now he gets Detroit, a defense that's bad again, but an offense that if Stafford plays will be able to shoot back into the game, right? They're not just going to be down in the count, fucking just dead, deceased in the fucking octagon or in the boxing ring like Nate Robinson was after Jake Paul beat the ever-living shit out of him. So I don't think that Corey Davis is going to struggle as much in this one. I feel like he's a bounce-back candidate for this week. At number 18, we have Robbie Anderson at the Green Bay Packers. Now, DJ Moore is kind of 50-50 in my opinion if he's going to end up playing or not. It's leaning more closely towards him playing, though. Robbie Anderson at the Green Bay Packers. While the Packers are going to be up by a zillion, the Carolina Panthers offense doesn't just bend over and take a fat railing right in the ass. They kind of just try to fire their way back into the fight, and I do think that Robbie Anderson should be usable in this game. At 18. At number 19, we have Chris Godwin at the Atlanta Falcons, just like with I don't know how to really describe this because Chris Godwin has been pretty decent when he's been healthy. He has been banged up a decent amount this season, but I am not really worried about his upside. I just don't feel ultra confident in these guys on a weekly basis because there's so many options in Tampa Bay. This could be a big Chris Godwin game. The Atlanta Falcons defense is fucking awful. Chris Godwin could smack him down, but also so could Mike Evans. And we have not seen the AB game, the cold god, fucking Antonio Brown, cold feet AB, Mr. Big Chest, have his huge game this season. Could it be this game? It 100% could. So this offense is kind of fucked up in that way. Now they also don't have Ronald Jones, so it could be a big Leonard Fournette game? Big LaShawn McCoy game? I don't know, but what I do know is every single week I feel most confident starting Chris Godwin. I feel like he is clearly the number one guy for Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, so I like him here at 19. At number 20, we have Deontay Johnson at the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, my biggest issue with Deontay Johnson is the fact that this guy could get yanked right out of this game at any second because the guy has KY fucking jelly for his hands. Some guys, they have that Elmer's glue, that nice, just catches the ball every single time. A guy like DeAndre Hopkins, a guy like Devontae Adams, and then Deontay Johnson lubes his shit up before the game, Vaselines up his hands like he's a fighter ready to go toe-to-toe up against Mike Tyson. But in reality, he's just trying to catch the football, and he can't fucking do it. He doesn't know how to grasp his hands. Mitchell Trubisky would hate him because Mitchell Trubisky knows how to grasp those titties so he can kiss them. I bet you Deontay Johnson would drop him and fumble him. Deontay Johnson drops the ball all the time. Up against Cincinnati, I would find it very hard for him to drop the ball. But again, it doesn't matter because there will be no one around him. And this man, the ball's coming his way, and there is shit rolling down his drawers. And Odell Beckham Jr.'s down there collecting it, eating that shit for breakfast. I don't understand what is wrong with Deontay Johnson. I don't. But frankly, there's no way in all hell you sit Deontay Johnson at the Cincinnati Bengals. Even though I labeled him as a sit, I have moved up on Deontay this week. But the risk is unreal because this guy could get benched 4 for 4 like at Wendy's seconds into the game because he drops the ball twice. Mike Evans, number 21, at the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Evans and Tampa Bay Tom Brady have kind of found their stroke. They've been looking much better as of recently. Does this continue? I think so because Tampa Bay Tom Brady's deep ball has looked better, so I like Evans at 21. At number 22, we have Juju Smith-Schuster at the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I'm not ultra confident in Juju this week, but Juju seems to eat like fucking Ezekiel Elliott during Thanksgiving dinner up against the Cincinnati Bengals, so I will believe in him this week at, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. At number 23, we have Cole Beasley at the Denver Broncos. Beasley has just been great this season. Cole Beasley's that kind of motherfucker. They used to start as your, like, flex, and you were like, you know what, this guy's going to get, like, 9 PPR points every game, and I'm going to feel fine with it. But recently, this guy has popped off. He dropped, like, a 30-point game a couple weeks ago, and up against Denver, the sky is the limit for Cole Beasley. At number 24, we have MP Michael Pittman versus the Houston Texans. Now, while Pittman's kind of stardom has been strutted on like Conor McGregor walking all over him, that's T.Y. Hilton. But Michael Pittman has still been fine going up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL in the Houston Texans. I think he just does mighty fine this week at 24 now to wide receivers 25 through 32. So again, if you guys have ended up enjoying this video, you're having a great time. You chuckled a bit at my rant about Deontay Johnson having lube for hands. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Maybe Deontay Johnson is like playing fucking Edward 40 hands, and the man just has the bottles on his hands. That's why he's dropping it. You never know. Maybe he's drinking a bit too much. That's why I can't grasp the ball correctly. Wide receiver 25, we got Amari Cooper versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, while this whole Dallas offense has fucking been tilted like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, that's the joke there. Amari Cooper has been fine. Just scoring a decent amount of fantasy points. You can rely on him on a weekly basis, even if this offense doesn't look very good. So up against San Fran is no different at 25. Number 26, we have Curtis Samuel at the Green Bay Packers for some fucking reason. Teddy Bridgewater hates DJ Moore. Even if DJ Moore plays, he just hates him. He just does. He just likes Curtis Samuel more. I don't know why. But it is what it is. Curtis Samuel, 26. Number 27, we have another guy whose name starts with a C. Chase Claypool at the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, it seems like Claypool's kind of been cucked a little bit recently. He was looking like the man, the myth, the legend, the rookie of the year, potentially. Now, that's been taken from underneath him from the two Justins, Herbert and Jefferson. In reality, Tua is going to win that bitch. Just kidding, because he has not played enough games, even though he wins all the games. And Justin Herbert just cries as he loses every single game, even though he had a nice game up against the Raiders a couple of days ago. Chase Claypool has been decent, but I don't love him this week at 27 to 28. We have Jarvis the Juice Landry at the New York Football Giants. Now, James Bradbury is not going to be playing in this matchup, but that didn't really scare me at all because Jarvis would not be going up against Bradbury. Unless Joe Judge just went fucking insane mode and just did that, which is definitely possible because Joe Judge is one crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. Jarvis Landry, on the other hand, should be a pretty safe option on a weekly basis. To me, his upside is limited by the fact that I always feel like they're going to run the ball a million times, but in reality, they just end up passing a bunch of times as well. Number 29, we have Marvin Jones at the Tennessee Titans. Marvin Jones gets completely yeeted all the way down the rankings to like 50 if Chase Daniels ends up playing, but this is assuming Stafford plays because at this point, I'm kind of like 50-50 on if Stafford ends up playing or not. Number 30, we have Tim Patrick versus the Buffalo Bills. Tim Patrick has been a tutty machine. Genuinely, just scoring all these touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy, good to see you, motherfucker. You're nothing. I'm the guy. I'm the man. Tim Patrick has been playing pretty well decently, and I'm going to kind of believe in him to score another tug this week up against Buffalo. Number 31, we have Kiki. Do you love me? Cootie at the Indianapolis Colts. Kiki hasn't been balling on the weekend like usual, but he has been playing pretty decent up against Indianapolis. There's a lot worse options than him. And at number 32, we have quarterback Russell Gage versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Russell Gage threw last week the best pass an Atlanta Falcons quarterback has thrown in years. Throw it on a dime like he ain't even trying. Trace McSorley style up against whoever they played last week. He literally threw a dart to Calvin Ridley. It was beautiful. It was magnifique. It was amazing. Up against the Tampa Bay offense with Julio Jones out, we do see potential for Russell Gage to have a decent game here at 32. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. If you did at any point end up enjoying this video, please make sure you slap that subscribe button. Fucking hit that shit like your name was Floyd Mayweather. I love each and every single one of you guys so much. Thank you guys for staying tuned throughout the whole video. I know this wasn't a super long one, but I had a lot of fun in this one. We had some nice analogies, some nice fun time. Very nice, as Borat would say. So thank you guys all for watching. OverlayDFS.com. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. The season's almost over. Let's eat some fucking W's today. Goodbye. As always, Notorious Fantasy on the 3-1-2. I've never said that before. On the 1-2-3. On the ABCs. It's as easy as 1-2-3. See you later. Goodbye.